Dima Mixon, Belt Sports, Glyn Dyar, 247 Sports. Southern Miss falls 34-17 to Mississippi State here at the Rock. 11 a.m. kickoff. Glyn, 21-0 third quarter.
Yeah, that was tough. They came out in the third quarter in their first drive, they scored, and it kind of goes from there. We talked about they're going to be huge up front. They, like Coach Huff said, they spent $15 million on this portal class, and it showed. They were huge up front, and eventually leaned on our guys, enough to, to where depth becomes an issue. And like he said as well, they needed to make something happen in that first half and see some momentum, because they knew they were going to get into a little game of attrition, after the second half.
Right, and I think we pretty much nailed this game. I mean, we said that we thought it was going to be close early, and I really thought the only way Southern Miss had a chance was exactly what Coach Huff said, kind of, get out in front a little bit, where the second half difference in nutrition, difference in depth wouldn't be as apparent because Mississippi State would be coming from behind. But, Southern Miss really did battle in that first half. I thought there was a lot of good things coming from the Golden Eagles in that first half, especially when we talk about on the offensive line. I was really impressed by the offensive line, even in the second half. I thought, they battled. Southern Miss didn't run the ball well today, but in the pass game, I really thought Braylon had time to at least throw. He just didn't have anybody to throw to.
Right, and to that point, I did. They like we said, they spent the money on the D linemen. It showed up. They were huge, physical, athletic, but it was their corners that surprised me. I kept seeing time and time again Braylon hit his drop, and first option was covered, second option was covered, and so many times he had to check down or take off, because the guys were covered. Their corners were very good, and they played a lot of press and bail, and they took away Braylon's wideouts, and many times took away his first and second options.
Yeah, for sure, and that's something I asked Coach Huff a second ago. And even Braylon said, man, that might be the best secondary that they play this season. We'll see. I don't know. I mean, we'll see. There's a lot of games left. But it was definitely apparent that there was not really anything downfield. I think the only downfield shot they hit was to Chester, that little kind of over-the-middle play, and went about 34 yards. And it was a good throw, but, it was still in the coverage. Like, it wasn't like he was wide open, of course. And a few one-on-one balls, it was just hard to push the ball downfield, and you're not going to be able to consistently just run and beat an SEC team. They were going to have to make some big plays. One thing that I thought was big, when Michael Montgomery gets his first career interception right here on the 25 yard line. I can't remember if it was 20, 25, 30. Somewhere in that. It was right here. A field goal out of it.
Yeah.
That I tweeted it.
Really
I said
momentum.
That right there to me was, if you want a chance to win these games, you have to cash in there.
Yeah. And that goes back to what Coach Huff said. They needed to make some big things happen early on before the depth and things of that nature caught up with them. Just on an interesting note that kind of got past most people was the Eastern Michigan University left tackle Blake Bustard shows up a week ago, shows up today with 63 on, and ends up playing the majority of the second half at left tackle. 6'7", 315, 320. That's a great late add, and one that really kind of slipped under the radar there, as he won his NCAA case about 2 weeks ago and got his year of eligibility back.
Yeah, it could be huge as far as depth for Southern Miss. And it's important to note that they're not going to see another team with that kind of depth the rest of the season.
Or
and that's
size, really.
Or size, yeah. That's kind of what we were saying all season was, if you feel like they battled, at least for the first half, and I really felt, I guess the fourth quarter is kind of garbage time, but at halftime, it was anybody's game, really. But, like we've been saying, they really wanted to get out in front. Southern Miss got the ball to start the second half. I think it was a 3 and out, and then that to me when I was like, oof.
Yeah, they needed to make something happen there. But, on a positive note, Braylon Braxton is who we thought Braylon Braxton was going to be. When that defense took his run game away, took away his receivers, he still was able to make things happen. Not enough obviously to win the game, but he showed, signs of what he can be this season against, Sun Belt opponents.
Yeah, and I don't have the actual stats as far as how many sacks that the offensive line gave up.
Yeah, 1.
But I think it was 1.
Yeah.
And if you would have told me that to start the game, that it's going to be 13-10 at halftime, and the offensive line only gives up 1 sack, I think everybody would have been pretty happy with that.
Right, and it's an offensive line that's not complete yet. Buster just got here. He's probably going to be your left tackle, and their starting left guard was injured, and he did not play today, so he'll probably be back for App State. So that O-line is going to continue to get better, and the depth will continue to grow.
So Jackson State next week, Glenn.
Yep.
Tigers coming in to town. Should be another good atmosphere. I thought that. Let's talk about that. The atmosphere today.
Fantastic.
It's just great to see both these teams on the field, and I would say close to a sellout.
Yeah, and then locking down my man DJ Cujo
Yeah.
there, he really gets them going, man. It's like
Yeah.
kind of like the Mike Man back in the '80s, getting the crowd going.
Yeah, so it was a good atmosphere, and there's a lot of state fans here, but I think Southern Miss came and they looked good as well. Jackson State next week. Feel like you like Southern Miss to win that game probably pretty handily. Wash this away, but Glenn, I think this season really starts in 2 weeks when App State comes.
Oh
to town.
man, I totally agree. I think that's a pivotal game. It's early and yet still pivotal. If they can win that game, that sets them up very well down to going into conference. If you knock that domino down right out of the gate, and it'll be a tough game.
Overall grade of Charles Huff State.
I'll give him a B, maybe a B minus. I saw some communication issues that could have been worked out. Times they had to take timeouts, when things didn't go as smoothly as it should have been, in terms of communication. They'll iron those things out.
I'm saying I was a B. I thought the offense played well. I just didn't think they played well enough to win. I think even if the corners are defending the receivers, I think you got to at least give them a chance, and they really didn't try to. They didn't try to throw the ball downfield. If they were covered, they just checked it down. You're not going to beat an SEC team like that. But I was encouraged by a lot. This team is easily better than the last 3 years that we've seen, and I think that should be encouraging to a lot of fans.
Well, yeah, the main thing, obviously, they're in good shape and they played hard. Those are givens, but they played discipline. Not a whole lot of penalties. They didn't do the stupid things that kill you. It's just the things that make you scratch your head. That didn't really happen today.
We'll be back on Tuesday after we talk to Charles Huff. I'm sure we'll talk more about Jackson State than this game, but we'll also get to hear his thoughts after watching the film, because it's kind of hard to gauge him right after the game.
Sure.
They need to watch the film, but we'll bring you there. We'll have a video on the field after that, and we'll be there next week for Jackson State. But for now, Mississippi State 34, Southern Miss 17. That's Glyn Dyar 247 Sports. I'm Dima Mixon. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on Tuesday.